Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Marina, Theron, Monnery joining us here again, live from Calgary, Alberta. Excited to talk more about the work she does. And she's helping so many with rapid transformational therapy, hypnotherapy, and coaching, and so much more. It's always great to have her here. How are you today?
I'm doing very good. How are you, Jill?
I'm doing well, sweetheart. Thank you. I had a day of rest here in the States. We had Thanksgiving yesterday, so I got to stay home and organize.
Oh,
How
happy
was
Thanksgiving again.
Well, thank you, and happy belated to you in Canada. So let's talk a little bit about for first time starters here. I know you, and I'm so excited to know your whole backstory and so much about you. Just share a little bit about what you do, and of course, I know we're going to get deeper into this today. And how can we also contact you?
Yes, I as you said, I am a hypnotherapist. I specialize in rapid transformational therapy, and I'm a coach. And I live in Calgary, Alberta. I grew up in South Africa, lived in Canada now for 23 years, which I call home now. And yes, it's just my absolute passion to do my work and to give people hope on a daily basis.
Oh,
And the way they can contact me is through my website. That is marinatheronmonnery.com, MarinaTheronmonnery.
oh, wonderful. Well, thank you. What did you have in mind for us today?
Well, Jill, I was thinking a lot about, the journey I almost walked with you from the pain in my life to where I am today. But most of all, I think I really feel that me and so many other people doing the same kind of work are really called to this for this time in life. And I think it's very important work because, look around you, look at where life is today, look at so much division in families, in the world, in countries. I cannot believe that after everything that we've grown through in humanity, all the pain, all the wars we've gone through, that we still have countries stuck in war, still fighting about things. And to me, I always remember Gandhi, who said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." And I think that's exactly why this kind of industry is so important, because I don't think we can win any of the battles that we perceive today in life on
Yeah.
a political or human or physical level. I think we have to win it from the inside out. And to me, that is to return to love. And love is such a complex thing, but
Yeah.
there's only one divine love. And once we
Aw.
return to that within ourselves,
Ah.
once we get that point of peace within ourselves, and we can become the example to the world, we will change the world. And I think that is why this is so important.
Beautiful. I love hearing your story, your journey, and just your energy. If you listening to her voice, you see her in person like I am on the Zoom, it's just you are just such a heart-filled, loving person who had her own share of struggles and triumphs, and her and her family went through so much for so long. And I'm just so excited that you're here helping so many after all you went through. It's just a beautiful thing.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I'm at a point in my life now that where I come from, my past, my pain, my suffering, being a victim is really not that important anymore. But where I am now is important. And I reflected on this yesterday quite a lot. Is today I look at my past and at all the people who were involved in it with gratitude. Because were they not there, did I not get those interpretations and messages from that, I would not be the person I am today. They only helped me. So I look at them with so much love, forgiveness, and gratitude, because all they did was to teach me lessons. So it's so important for me to portray that and to help people get to that point, because being a victim can be really addictive. We get addicted to the drama, and I was there for the longest time in my life. you identify as that. I see that in clients where they just cannot snap out of that poor me, and they have to post about every single one of the things that goes wrong on social media today. And then they get addicted to that attention they get. And unfortunately, most people in life do not change until the discontent becomes so big. And we see that whenever there's a crisis in life, our churches are full, people pray more. When things goes right, people just keep going. And to make that change in life, sometimes it's like God gives you all these messages and tickles you with a little feather to wake up, but it's when he hits you with a 2x4 that you finally do, and that you make the changes in life.
Beautiful. And we all could do it and take the time to make these changes.
That's for sure.
When you have
And
someone like you holding your hand and guiding you, it's easy. Yes.
well, I always like to use the analogy of a surfboat or a wake boat that we know today. I have people who greatly influence me. I always have to mention Marissa Peer, who is my mentor, and before her, Mary Morrissey and Natalie Lidwell. And lately, I've been really involved in the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I went to 2 of his live retreats lately. And it's almost as if I can see him as driving that motorboat or any of them. And I am just trying my best behind them to stay on the wakeboard and to master wake surfing. And when I fall down, I just get up, but I don't give up. And the only thing I hope for all my clients is not that I drag them and guide them through it, but that I teach them how to stay on their own wakeboards and even to surpass me at some point, just to do it all by themselves and just stay and master life and just learn and grow and be love. And love is so important. God is love. And if we can connect with that love within us, if we can start to see ourselves again through the eyes of love, who we really are, I believe each one of us has an awareness deep inside of us of who we really are. But life happens. We come into this life and pain happens, hardships happen, and we get separated from that love and we start to believe things about ourselves. That is painful. And it's sometimes those whispers that we have for ourselves in our own minds, in our own thoughts, that hurt us more than anything else. In the late 1200s, early 1300s, there was a German Meister Eckhart. I don't know if it was a priest, but anyway, Meister Eckhart had this concept that we have to be naked before God. And that's not physically naked, that's to remember really who we are in front of God's eyes. Who did he create? Why are we here? And to remember that again, to connect with that love again, to become that love again, to be that love to the world, to everybody we meet, where we don't have to talk about our suffering anymore, but where we can be the example of how wonderful life can be if we are willing to become the change from the inside out.
Mhm. And remind us, Marina, how we can reach out to you before we continue.
Yes, on my website is marinatheronmonnery.com, MarinaTheronMonnery. Angela, I talked a lot about certain things people could do last week to make changes in their lives, and one of the things is gratitude. And I forgot to mention that I made a gratitude journal actually a while back already, but it's now available on my website. It's a free download. It's a PDF. People can just print it out for themselves, use it in whichever way they want, and get into that attitude of gratitude. And the most important thing about that for me is what you focus on will increase. And the way gratitude works and worked in my life is I used to be that victim. I used to be poor Marina. She had such a hard life. And then I started to focus on what I have in my life, what I'm grateful for. And before I knew it, that overshadowed everything I did not, I lacked. And that just became more and more. And now I have nothing to be ungrateful for. I have a life to be absolutely in gratitude for. I wake up in the morning and I'm so grateful to be alive, and I go to bed at night And I'm so
Mm.
grateful because I had such a full day. I have such a full life. I have a meaningful life. Before I made the changes, I think one of the things that annoyed me the most, my discontent, was that deep inside of myself, I knew I had potential, but I didn't know how to connect with that full potential in me. Well, I definitely crossed that bridge, and it's such a joy for me to help people through that. And another thing is to always stay positive. It's easy to fall into the trap of negativity and complaining, but if we can learn to change all of that into a positive, and I have two clients right now that it's so important for. One is a professional athlete. If she falls into any negative thoughts, into any negative beliefs, she would lose. So for her to have that laser focus on staying positive is the winning ticket, literally. And then I have another client who is seriously terminally ill, and all she wants is to live. And for her, the moment she surrenders to negativity means that it's a day that she may not wake up from again. And so for her as well, it's so important to just stay absolutely positive at all times.
And I just find this is the season of being grateful around the holidays, and that's something that goes a long way. And I know you journal, we talk about gratitude, and especially yesterday for Thanksgiving, talking about what we're grateful for and what it does go a long way to be grateful, to get up each and every day and think about or write down the night before what you're thankful for. It's beautiful. It can really help with positivity. Hmm.
I think if we think of vibrational energy and you think of anything that's dark, dark thoughts, how does it make you feel on the inside? And then when you turn it around, you think light thoughts, or you do something that makes you laugh, or even put on lively music and jump up and down and dance. It just changes that vibration inside of us so much. And it's just such a powerful thing to do and to create in our lives. And Jill, we have the ability to change every moment of our lives. We have that. And it's sometimes just that disconnect about, I know I have the knowledge, but how do I apply it? And this is what I love about what I do when I use the recordings for my clients and I put their words in there. And I tell them that you are beautiful, you're powerful, you're meant to be, and they can feel that emotion so that they can bridge that gap between the knowledge that's just in their head and living it, becoming it. It's so important that we decide who we want to be. And discontent helps us. If that discontent is there in our life and we realize, I do not want to be this anymore. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be unhappy. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to be sleepless. I don't want to be anxious. I don't want to smoke. I don't want to drink that much. All those discontents in our lives. It's bridging that gap between what do I not want to do and what do I want to do. And so that's what I love about my life. That's what I love, that I can help people just absolutely believe in the ability they already have in themselves to make those changes.
Well, here we are, and it's not never too late. I like to point that out to somebody, right? And the work you're doing is never too late to help someone. Could you share that aspect of it, or maybe a story or two of someone that you've
Yes, I
worked
can
with?
use my own example, Jill, because it was as I was reflecting on this last night, I had to write down, when did I start to do gratitudes? And that was when I turned 50, and that's 5 years ago. I started to do gratitudes. And even though a lot of things in my life were falling into place, for example, I am in an absolute beautiful marriage. I have a wonderful relationship. I have the kind of marriage that stories are written about. I already had that in my life, but then I had cancer after that. So things were still not 100% in alignment and in harmony. And it was when I turned 50 and I really questioned, why am I here? My kids were now grown up. They were not babies anymore. They didn't need me as much. Some of them moved out by then. And I felt, but what is my purpose? Why am I here? And that is when it was almost as if a power much higher than me answered me and started to open all the doors. And that's when I discovered Natalie Lidwell, who taught me about gratitude. And I'm so grateful for that today. And just how that grew from there, how I grew from there. And man, Joe, life can be so beautiful if we choose to make it that. So it's definitely never too late. I have clients in their 70s who are desperately working every single day on living the best years of their life or for as long as they have. It's never too late. It's never too late. And, just changing our attitudes, changing our thoughts, changing the vibration, making shifts like being grateful, like understanding not to take things personally, forgiving. I love the Ho'oponopono, the message of thank you or I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. I believe that's one of the most powerful tools that I discovered in my life to keep me in that oneness with that love that completely surpasses all understanding. When I was in Denver earlier this year in the summer at the Joe Dispenza conference, it was an absolute phenomenal experience to be in a room with 2,000 people, all just giving love. It was just such a great experience. And you can ask me today, what is love? And I can tell you, I have love for my dog. I have love for my children. I have a love for my car. I have love for my husband. But what if love goes so much deeper than that? What if love strips you of any judgment, self-judgment, seeing people only through the eyes of love? Isn't that the goal in life? Isn't that on that level that we will change the world if we start to feel that for ourselves and others?
Well, that's also, just beautiful. And I find here I am in my mid 40s, right? There's a lot I want to change, a lot I still want to do. And I just am grateful. And I think that anyone can change at any age. I want to point that out. My mother and father were together many years, didn't get along. My mom passed away 6 years ago. My dad became a whole different person now and is loving, grateful, kind, everything he wasn't, which is so sad. My mom didn't get to experience that, but I really believe in this type of work. And let me just ask you something when it comes to rapid transformational therapy, right? It's funny because I had this discussion with my sister a few weeks ago, because she knows someone that did it to help her stop smoking. And long story short, the process of you record something, right? You record part of the conversation, you have to listen to it over and over again. How long do you listen to that for to set that habit
We
in a
asked for
sense?
21 days. And so the way rapid transformational therapy works is when a client comes to me for smoking is a great example. Um, this is kind of a new way that they have changed how we do it, because at some point they only did a smoking cessation, which is go into hypnotherapy and kind of do a reprogramming. But I find that it's very powerful now when I go in and when they are very relaxed, I start to ask them questions. And when did you start smoking? I had one client who was actually 15 years old, 14, 15 years old when she was raped. And she was a very, very academic girl. However, her mom was quite a hard person, and she didn't feel she had the courage to go to mom and say, I want this happened to me. She thought mom would say, that's your fault. So she didn't. But suddenly she went back to school, kept it to herself, and she could not relate to her very academic, very straightforward, very religious friends. She suddenly related to the girls who already were sexually active and were all smoking. And she started to smoke, even though that was never who she really was. So, in understanding where that came from, that's what RTT does beautiful. Understanding gives you power. So, when we went back and we did beautiful exercises to help giving her power back and forgiveness forgiveness towards the self that she put herself in that situation, and then go and change the behavior, then it's different. So the recording is very important because I take her word. So what do you want? I never want to be feeling the need to have a cigarette in my hands or between my lips again. And if you then build that in a positive way, I never use negative words in the recording, and let them listen to that, it really goes into that limbic part of the brain, and they start to feel those emotions, and then they start to act on it. Before you know it, they really don't smoke anymore. They don't feel the need. The need for them to do that is gone. They have better coping skills. So that's just one little example.
We love hearing your examples. We still got 5 minutes left, Marina. So how did you want to end the show? I mean, we still have a few more minutes to talk more about what's important to you.
That's right. Well, I guess examples are a really good way. And I'm so extremely blessed that over the years that I've been doing this, I've had so many success stories. Another great example is a girl who came to me about 2 years ago. And in what she wanted, she actually wanted to get this specific house. And she lives in Australia. And now, 2 years later, she lives in the house. I just interviewed her and she went step by step through how that happened from the time we did the session. I actually put that in the recording that you can visualize the house she's living in already. And in her situation, things started to go wrong. And somebody else put a higher bid in on the house when she finally found this house. And she just said, no, I don't believe this. She started to buy the furniture. She put both her properties on the market so that she can afford it. And the serendipitous things that happened to get her and her husband to buy this house and now live in it and have all the money and the timing of it, it's no coincidence. It just makes me believe again in this work we do and how powerful we really are in making changes in our lives.
Got it. Well, I love the power of change, the power of feeling good. And I appreciate you being here for us and to work with someone like you. Could you share the process? I know you offer initial consultation, which is
That's right.
amazing. Explain that process of getting started.
Yeah, so I do on my website, there is a way, there is a book a consultation, and that's the first step, book a consultation. I ask for a little bit of information in a form, and then we meet. And for an hour, I listen. I explain myself, where I come from, my philosophy, what is important to me. And again, I have to bring love in. If people can connect with that love inside of them, it's easy. It's beautiful. And then we book the sessions and we determine during that initial conversation if it's going to be one session, maybe two sessions, or are they the right candidate to work with me over a longer period of time where I incorporate coaching then into what I do as well. And they can reach me and book that on my website, marinatheronmonnery.com. MarinaTheronMonnery. And then again, there is now the free gratitude journal that they can access and download in PDF and enjoy.
Well, and you are living proof that this is possible. Change is possible and you can have what you want. And it's more than manifestation, right? Because people say I manifest, but it's a process. For someone out there thinking they can change just by manifestation, what would you say?
Well, I think it's sometimes we have to put the work in and staying positive. And I'm going to go back to my client with a house. She could have lost hope when they lost that bid against another person who bought the house. They could have said, no, I guess we'll have to, this is not a house, we have to look elsewhere. But they said, no, they're still going to do the work. Staying positive is one of the most important things that we can do. And keep faith. That's part of faith. That's, I think, one of the most important parts of faith is to always stay positive, to always believe. And I will never forget that Mary Morrissey taught me that, and this is something I teach my clients, if my clients' faith and belief in what they are creating is not strong, I invite them to borrow my belief because I have an unwavering belief in this. And so it's just always staying positive, always believing, always taking tremendous steps forward to manifest things. And then I love it when the surprises come, when things come to you in a way that you could never imagine. That's when you know that there's a higher hand involved here that you just cannot explain.
Well, Marina, Theron, Monnery, if we want to reach out, also don't forget that free PDF file on the site, Real Gratitude. What is it? What is it called?
It's a gratitude journal.
Perfect. And we can get that on the website.
Absolutely. And have fun, enjoy it. And again, my website, marinatheronmonnery.com.
That's what I was going to ask.
Theronmonnery.
Thank you. Always a pleasure to see you, really.
Thank you, Jill. I'm privileged, and thank you so much for giving me this time.
Thank you for spending the time with us, and I hope you have a fantastic day and the rest of your weekend, which is upon us, okay? Thank you again for reminding us about being grateful, and of course, anything is possible. We can all change thanks to you. Again, we didn't really specify the rapid transformational therapy we talked a little about, but also as hypnotherapist, there's so much that can be helped. So thank you. Look her up. Don't forget, okay?
Thank you, Jill.
Bye, sweetheart.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.